Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes of Couples Therapy. Uh, this week we're going to talk about defensiveness, another one of the four horsemen. And I was thinking about this, like, why did I do defensiveness last when every single handout I give to people or list that you see of these four horsemen has defensiveness as the second of the four horsemen? And, I was really thinking about that, and I think the reason I saved it for last is because I was avoiding it because I do it all the time. It's kind of my go-to whenever my wife has a complaint. I definitely try not to, but this is something I want to do whenever I feel criticized. And that's kind of when it shows up in intimate relationships, is when one partner feels criticized. You notice I said feels criticized because it doesn't necessarily mean that you were criticized. Oftentimes our past kind of shapes our experience of the present. And so if you grew up in a household where there was just tons of criticism, you might be looking for it everywhere. So if your partner brings up just a regular complaint, there's a bunch of dirty dishes in the sink. I use that example all the time because every couple fights about dirty dishes. You might hear that as criticism when really your partner is just bringing up a complaint. And that is a normal thing. Those are normal conversations that we want to be having, and we don't want to be resorting to defensiveness. So defensiveness is usually a counterattack to some perceived criticism. I gave you guys an example of dirty dishes. If your partner were to say it like that, hey, there's dirty dishes in the sink. I noticed a lot of them were yours. Is there a way we could maybe work together to kind of handle this dish situation? And you're hearing that as criticism, but it's not. Maybe there's some work to do around why you're hearing non-critical statements as criticism. So a way to kind of combat this defensiveness that's very common is to take responsibility. So first of all, defensiveness is just a way of avoiding taking responsibility. It usually escalates conflict and invites actual criticism into your conversation. So when you use defensiveness, you're really just making excuses, and you're telling your partner that their complaint isn't valid. You're not taking them seriously. You're really not listening to what they're saying. You're more focused on, protecting yourself. You're kind of in that survival mode I've talked about. So what we do is we be responsible for what we can be responsible for, and this isn't as hard as it sounds. So just acknowledge your partner's feelings. In the dish example, you could say, yeah, it sounds like you're really frustrated with this dish situation, and I'm sorry that I just threw some dirty dishes in the sink. I'll try to do better next time. So when you do that, you're inviting dialogue, right? As opposed to just shutting it down and ignoring the complaint. You're being responsible for what you can be responsible for, and you're inviting a dialogue, and that creates kind of a team atmosphere that allows you to move into problem solving and trying to talk about solutions to the problem. So often what I see is when one partner chooses not to be defensive and to be responsible for something, it actually invites the other partner to be responsible for what they can be responsible for. So if we're talking about dishes again, and you say, yeah, I was just in a hurry, I'm a slob, I'm sorry, I will do better next time. Your partner might respond with, I know, I do it all the time too, and I just think we could both be better at it. So next time you talk with your partner about a common problem like dishes, try to avoid criticism at all costs, right? That's the first video that I did was about criticism. Criticism will provoke defensiveness, and defensiveness will provoke criticism. They kind of have this symbiotic relationship. So if we can avoid both of those things in our conversations, we can actually get somewhere. And remember, 67% of these conflicts that we have in marriage and in intimate relationships are perpetual and unresolvable. So the next time you bring one of these up, just know that you're not going to fix the problem, but you guys might move an inch closer together And that's really the goal. The real ultimate goal is to increase our understanding of each other and to try to figure out what our needs are so that as partners, we can try to meet those needs. So that's what I got for you guys this week. I hope it helped in some small way. That completes our series on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So next week, I'm going to start talking about attachment issues and how your attachment bonds that you develop in childhood with your primary caregivers actually significantly influence how you are in your intimate relationships. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next week.